So Kauris is multi-tabling in Poker Aarnimetsa's chat and probably put something in the Finnish side of things. I know that it may be quite hard with the Poker Aarnimetsa chat because the Finnish and English side, they are both looking pretty much the same. But so on the top right corner, you can see that I have already won $20 in the knockout bounties. Then I'm at least going to be getting home with at least, I think there's 15 bucks. So it's going to be, or what it is, it's going to be 8 bucks. So I'm going to be at least getting back with 3 times the stack I have. It's going to be slightly interesting. I think a non-all-in min-raise fold is going to be best in that spot. And I'm going to get the blinds enough of the time, so it's going to be good, but not this time. We are trying to follow the Justin TV chat, the Poker Aarnimetsa English chat, and also Poker Aarnimetsa Finnish chat. So, and now it's going to be really hard because playing the satellite here is going to make me play a lot against my instincts, and my instincts would be aggressive, but now I can't because there will be stupid players and I'm going to leak a crap ton of equity to them if I'm playing like I usually play, so I need to be really aware of what I'm playing down there. And Kauris, it's like 9-7 off, it's going to be the worst hands that it's not profitable to shove anymore. But I think it's going to be a profitable raise fold if the people are going to fold enough. And I'm thinking they are going to fold enough. And generally it's going to make it harder for you to multi-table if you are playing games that are completely different like the other games. So now I need to use my mental muscles a lot more. And with sixes, with any pair we are going to shove because there is going to be so much in the pot by the virtue of just antes that we just need to be shipping a lot in. Now I quit opening new tournaments, so next tournaments we are going to be opening are going to be turbos mainly. That we can get, or I can get to sleep. There will be some nice games in the Olympics. Good thing that they are not the first thing in the morning. And now there, I'm going to call the 154k stack. But I'm definitely not going to do anything against Diego here. Because I shouldn't be risking my equity against him. So whatever he does, I'm going to be folding. And when he gave walk to me, that's going to be really good. And probably with the next guy, I'm going to give him a walk as well. Because he's probably on top 20 anyways. And it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to risk too much against him. And here when we are c-betting it, we are also pretty much going for broke. That's probably the only line that he can take, that I'm not going for broke, because now I have only 14 outs about on the turn, and it's not enough. It's just not enough I would need to have 32% there, and with just 14 outs I'm not getting it. And this Kubek, he's probably playing close to Nash there. Like, Nash probably dictates that he should be shoving really often, because all the other guys should be folding a lot here. But he's still playing bad, and do you have an option in the chat that why Kubek is playing bad even though he could be playing pretty close to Nash there? And also an interesting spot, I'm going to fold kings against Kubek and Diego for sure. Even Gallerhead would be hard for me to call, and Maki would be the first guy that I would be happy to call with kings here. I would even fold aces against Kubek or Diego here. Yeah, probably ace-10 off from... Ace-10 suited would be a nice open from UTG +1. But from UTG it's going to be... Or UTG +1 it's going to be... And with Maki we are going to ship it in, because even if we lose we are going to have a nice stack, and if we win it's going to be even more. And it's going to be quite likely that he's at most having ace there, and he's having something like 20-something% equity against us. And this guy should even be folding aces here. And that's the worst hand that he can has, and he hits it. So now I can hate him a bit, but I still think it's quite likely for us to be winning the ticket, so I'm not worried. And I'm going to play a lot of position games there, so even though it looks like it's a dumb defend, I don't think it's a dumb defend, because his range is going to be wide. Now that there are 3 overcards and a possible straight, I just need to give it up, but there would be a lot of position games that I would have won the pot after the flop, when he just min-raises and I'm in position to him. Jack 9 off would be a shove. Jack 7 suited would be a shove. Jack 8 off is going to be a tight fold for me. And now it's going to be really tough for me to play, because I'm 17th out of 39, so I'm pretty likely of getting to money whatever I do. And there is just one rule: don't go broke. And against Kubek it's easy for me to, and with a medium stack, ICM dictates, even though I can't exactly calculate it, because this is a multi-table tourney, it's going to have a lot of impact in my decisions. And I would be folding pretty much aces here. Or aces would be the only hand that I'm going to call, even think about calling, because I think that I'm quite like 70% favorite of finishing in the money by just not screwing it up. We are going to stop and go here with ace-6 off. And we are pretty much screwed, but we were even pre-flop pretty much screwed. It doesn't matter on how it ends there. Now, because it's going to be so important for me to not screw up that Sunday Million game, I'm going to be doing a bit of making sure that I won't, so I'll be posting, or I'll be watching this money list very, very carefully. I need to be top 26, so that practically says to me that folding the sevens wasn't a good move. And that's pretty hard for me to see that folding the sevens wasn't a good move, because then I'm making it harder for myself to earn good monies there. And we are calling the Adichie. I just can't see what the better hand would be there, that he would shove there on the flop. And there is always an option that the guys here are going to screw it up by playing worse than I'm playing. But I don't feel that comfortable being pretty close to the bubble there. Like 26th is going to be my target finish. And that's going to require some of these guys screwing it up big time. I'm not going to yet start stalling, but it might be that I'm going to need the time bank to stall at the better time, because it's going to be close and I'm going to use everything in my power to ensure that I'm going to finish in the money, so... And it's also interesting to learn on how big a stack do you need on these satellites, because it's going to be really interesting or really important for you to know how big a stack do you need. And because if you are doing stupid things than I did with the sevens, because I thought that my stack is going to be easily there and I should have had this window open to see how closely the stacks are. Like when the blinds hit me, I'm going to be on the worst side of 30, and that's somewhere I don't want to be. That I certainly don't want to be in. And Kauris, you are going to see something more horrible later on, because I'm having another satellite and I have made all 9 rebuys already, and I'm not in a good shape, so... And as I said, I'm going to feel dumb if I'm going to bubble this or something by playing badly and thinking that I can get to the money by just starting to fold and not recognize when the spot to do it is. Just making the money is much more important in satellites than in regular games, because in regular games, even this 3 times turbo, it doesn't matter that much if you are just getting to the money. But here, because all the guys that get into the money, they are probably getting the same amount of. And Kubek is sitting out, so if we are seeing a spot that we can shove against Kubek's big blind, we are probably trying to take it. Because Kubek is now making a point that he's having a big enough stack to get the money, and you should never be even though you are quite sure that you are making the money, you should never be sitting out, because then you are telling the other guys that there is one player that is sitting out, so he's quite sure that he's going to make the money, and his blinds are therefore taking. And we are going to go for broke against the run pair. Even though we are not hitting or we are not having an overpair there, we are still going. We didn't double on the 3 times turbo, but we are still in a good place. I don't think that it's going to be hard for us in that turn. We are quite well off there. Kubek is shoving. We don't like it, and we are dropping quite low there. Now it's just about knowing what's low enough, and there aren't going to be much players losing their chip stacks anymore, because there are just 4 tables running. And if this would be a big game for me, I would be opening up all the other tables to see which or what kind of shape I'm in. Being a short stack here isn't horrible, because then I can take some risks. But being a medium stack is, and if we are getting it unopened to us, we are going to shove against the ZZ, because the ZZ isn't going to be... He's going to be risking a lot more than we are, because we are here... We are quite likely to not make it to the money if we are just folding. But if we are shoving, we are still having enough weapon power against this guy, because he's going to be at the same situation as we are if he's calling and losing to us. So here we go. And even though he's getting a great price, he shouldn't be calling with any 2 or nearly with any 2, because he's going to get to the money pretty much by folding. He's now somewhere around... He's now... like he's 14th right now, so why would he call me there? Because, and now I'm at the 14th or 18th, it doesn't matter, but now we can try to make the money, because it's going to be better, and this was a great relief for me. And we are getting slightly screwed in the Supernova free roll. I 3-bet the T dry, and we need only 29% of equity, and if he's having like ace queen off, we are getting it. And when he shows up with ace 5, I know that I made a great call there, no matter what happens. And perhaps there is like one thing to take into account. Don't play like Kubek. That's something, because there are people that are going to call way too much. So you are trying to abuse the people that are playing the same game, so please do adjust to the other players and don't give them easy money. It's an easy call, less than a big blind. Even though we are in the worst possible shape, we are dominated, we are still getting it in in with the right price when he's raising us less than 1/2 of a big blind. And in this 3x turbo, yeah, I know that Kauris is going to be... It's going to be a Kauris's deep stack when we are still having 15 big blinds. Yeah, the Sitax Pohui is probably not a good player, I'd say. This is going to be slightly interesting. But because the Adugi has been calling with something stupid, I think King 10 off, I just can't be shoving that, but I was really tempted to shove it. There are some really small stacks on our tables, so I'm going to be really careful. And I'm sorry that if I'm repeating myself, because I'm just repeating it so I don't do anything stupid there. Because I need to play a really different game than I'm usually playing, and then it takes concentration, and I'm not likely having the best concentration I can have. And Kauris, we are now on another satellite for the Sunday Million 3x turbo, and we are now on 15 rebuys, and we are counting because there is going to be a 3-way all-in and we are still having the short stack. With Adichie, we are going to get it in. And the Musu stars being in there, it's making this complicated. It's going to be really profitable against Adichie, but if he's calling, then we are playing a really harsh pot, and it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to be bluffing because we need to win 2 guys, and luckily we did. Four players need to be dropping. We are having the most insane player. This is pretty much because I'm going to have a really nice equity against most of the guys. This was a hard decision because I think that my stack is... I think that if I'm going to get it in with 70% equity and I'm going to get the blinds some of the time, it's going to be better because I think that 70% is even, it's going to be higher than the chance of me cashing right now, because there needs to be 26 gets money, so there needs to be 4 out, and now there is actually 1 more out, so... And... yeah! Yes! The tens, it was a really close shove for me. And it was quite interesting when Galeon asked just before the tens that I think my stack is big enough. And now my stack is for sure big enough. But the previous hand I wasn't completely sure. I was something like 65% sure. And Callan, better just to ISO shove that King Jack suited. I don't know if I have enough fold equity on the Musu stars, so it was a hard hand for me, for sure. I was thinking about ISO shoving, folding, calling. Like all the buttons seem to be equally crappy, because I know that with the IG stars I'm well ahead, and Musu stars is a wild card when he just calls there. I don't think it's an easy decision to be making. And I'm not sure did I press the right button there, because we got into a really awkward situation. So now we need to lose 2 players in the Sunday Million satellite, and we get the money, and there is just 3 players with less than 1 big blind, so it should be easy. Like, it's still a bit funny that this isn't even the biggest game that I'm playing right now. But there is something that there is when you are quite close to the satellite finals. So that just makes it exciting. And exciting is something we like here. I needed to make 17 rebuys to make it to the add-on period on the other Sunday Million 1.65 satellite, and I still got a crappy stack, so you can run also pretty horribly. But now I have a nice stack there, so perhaps I'm going to get even 2 nice tourney tickets. Now it's hand for hand, so only we need to get rid of 1 more player to be finishing in the money. And in the money is going to be $125, and then we are just playing for $90 more. It's going to be slightly interesting because with 3-8 off, it's he's still having 330k, and if I'm shoving and losing there, I'm going to be in a bad shape. And 7s, I don't like to shove there, because when the big blind is short stack, he's going to probably trying to get it all in anyway. And against the other guys, I'm risking way less if I'm min-raising than if I would be shoving. So I think it's more optimal to min raise when we are still so deep against some guys on the table. So now we are in the money in the Sunday Million Sat. And there are going to be 6 tables, or we are going to have a lot of opportunities for elimination for the Sunday Million Sat. And we lost the other Sat with 17 rebuys and 1 add-on. And now when it's going to be hand for hand, it's going to take a small forever for every hand. And now it's also interesting because some guys might think that they are taking huge risks right now because they are valuing more to $125 as money when you are comparing the $125 as what it's called. They are valuing $125 as money more than the Sunday Million seat because not all the players on PokerStars know that you can get the money as tournament dollars if you are winning a seat. On the 3x turbo, I think that it's going to be close. When we are opening UTG +1 and he hasn't played a single hand, we can fold this, but against most of the players on the table, I would have just gone with it. And just because he was such a nit, and with 22 hands and you have not liked a single hand enough to play it, I'm thinking that you are probably playing too tight. And tournament is over. Thank you for participating, and we got the ticket. So we can add another Sunday Million turbo, and then we are having progressive knockout in the money. I'm trying to look at some of the... Do we have some nice hypers or something going on? But I can't see that much. We are close to the money in... And now we are quite likely to get it in. And 5s against 9s, and we were folding 7s there. And we are we are quite lucky when he hits, but then we are... And now I'm going to try to tap him. I was trying to get some other players on our table to do something stupid. Just trying to increase the opportunities for him to blow up and do something. Do something stupid. And we increased the opportunities enough to get his stack, and that's the most important thing. Hmm. 10 queen, and we are trying to increase our stack on the rebuy period, so we are getting it in with 10 queen off. I'm trying to look if there are nice turbos or hypers that would be easy games for me to play, because I don't think that we are going to run that much longer. So the turbos are pretty much the only option that we are going to have. We are trying to run a balanced set, that we are not playing a horrible amount of tables and not a horrible amount of hours. There's one hyper, but that's like heads up, and heads up is not my speciality. So I'm going to leave that. Yeah, we are now having a nice stack in the Sunday quarterly free roll, but still we are not out of the clear yet, and we need to increase our stack by a lot that before we can be really happy. I'm trying to get a lot of interesting games going on, but now I think I'm going to be playing mainly sit and goes, because there will be some runtime issues, and there are not a lot of interesting turbos or hypers going on. We are going to, because they're phone players, but they're still players in the quarterly free roll, and we are taking the call line here. We are going to do a slight call down here. I think with ace queen off we should be good enough of the time for the call down to be good. It's going to feel slightly bad when it's going to be the biggest tourney you'll be having, and it's still possible that he's going to have the ace king. Ace king and ace jack are both good possibilities. And now I say, now I'm going to need some help in the free roll. I'm hoping that Dayah is making an interesting run, because it seems that my run is coming to an end right now. If I don't hit the queen, and I didn't hit the queen, so I'm out of the free roll. I think it was slightly a cooler for him to have ace king there. Although when he's shoving the river, there is not a lot that he can have that I'm beating because jack hit on the turn, and there are some busted flush draws as well, but a phone player in the Sunday free roll, it just feels so weak to fold a top pair with the second best kicker. I don't know, perhaps I made a mistake there, or a bigger sort of mistake. We got some showdown equity here, and now we got a lot of showdown equity, and we are trying to extract a lot of value from him by betting large. But it's pretty much that if the flop flush draw had gone through, I wouldn't have lost my stack there. If there would have been king on the turn or river, I wouldn't have lost my stack there. But well, sometimes it goes like that. And oftentimes when it's your biggest tournament, you are thinking, oh, what about? Small blind shoves over a cutoff open with just 12 big blinds. We are going in. We are having it going good. And I think if we would ask Kauris, we would have a mega stack in the 3 times turbo right now. On the one with regular payoffs. On the rebuy one, we are putting our hand to the wallet a lot of the time. We are like 35 minutes out of the rebuys or out of the add-on period, and we have already made 7 rebuys. Well, and that's true. True that the king would be making less likely that he would have ace king. This will be slightly interesting, but I think that people will be folding there too much. On the top left corner. Uncle Flat called me. If he checks behind me, I'm going to bet the turn, but it's going to hit a lot of the basic players. Basic players flatting range this Jack 10 flop, so it's going to be a bit harsh for me to play. And now you can see probably when I lost the biggest tournament in a questionable hand, now there are thoughts going in my head, and it's going to be a bit hard to concentrate for a while before I have sorted it out. But I'll be trying to sort it out quickly. And here, as we can see, that there are so many small stacks, and we are going to get it in because jacking off is going to be a decent hand. And yes, as Cody said, that there's going to be a bubble in the 3x Turbo quite soon, because the blinds are so high in relation to the player's average stack. The bubble is going to arrive quicker than we think. Even though we are now having a table that we are having a lot of bigger stacks or the similar sized stacks than us, so and how do you get rid of the doubt that did I do it right? That's something that you just need to learn on how to do, because there are going to be a lot of situations, and usually if it's just a meaningless tournament it's easier then, but if it's going to be the biggest one, then it's always harder for your psyche. At least I think so. But this looks a bit horrible to me when I'm not having a good, decent sized stack, and I have already made 7 rebuys and there are like 6 blind levels to go. So this is a small tournament compared to yours, if your tournament had like 1750. 1750 in the money, and this is only 1440. Now we are hitting the bazinga here, and we are just trying to think about what is the best thing we can do to extract value out of the Mad Jumbo. And first I thought I would let him do the betting, but usually that's the problem when you hit quads or hit full house, because the other guys usually don't have anything on the flop, and it's going to be scary for them to carry on, because you are going to be blocking a lot of their decent hands. It's going to be close if I'm opening this 4 king suited, and because Ramin has been really active, that's the reason that I didn't open. But if he would have been a nit, I would probably have opened even that. And we got our hand back to the rebuy pocket. And now when we are all in, it looks quite good, but when this guy is betting, it looks a lot worse than it should. First place is 13,654 and second place is $9,943. So we are just out of 5-fig second place. But it would be decent money anyway. check what the Seplu Ploy with a bottom pair he's betting 2 streets. Well played, sir, well played. And when Callan said that you just need a non-believer when hitting huge in a dry pot, yeah, it is sometimes it's good to hit a dry flop if you are having a player that you have played a lot of mind games against, because then you are quite likely that he's not believing you, that you shouldn't hit this dry flop hard, so I'm going to bluff you out of it, or I'm going to call down you really lightly. And pair of eights, we are singing the songs of how we are going to have a lotto going on. But this time the lottery ticket we had didn't win, so it happens. We'll get it next time. And this is again hand to the rebuy pocket. And you can see that these games can be quite frustrating when the amount of how many rebuys you make just goes up and up and up, but your stack doesn't go up. Kauris, I think the difference is that in your tournament there were many more players. I think that you require that there were many more players on your 3x turbo that you almost won, but I think the guys on my 3x turbo have made a lot more rebuys. And I'm trying to beat your second place, because that would be awesome. Your second place was already quite awesome in a game that the stacks were so huge at the final stages. So now I need to say that if Kauris is using Google Translate again, I just can't understand the last "careful not to bounce the heart of yard" means. It's just something too hard for me to understand right now. There are only 14,331 entries. So I think the 15,000 players is probably the cutoff of having 1,720 players in the money. Actually, this would be quite close that we would be needing to call Freloy. Freloy is shoving. Nah, no balls, no calls. We are getting to the next break, and we are trying to shape the tables a bit. We have had like one good cash and a lot of min cashes, and it looks like this can be a good place at the progressive knockout. So We are going to a break and we are coming back in 5 minutes.